Collier said, "I've earned this platform," which she had, and said, "I don't care what the fine is," which, if I hear her correctly, tide that lifts all boats. And we know this show is proof. The highest rating we have ever had followed one of her games at Iowa.
Rarely do we see a takedown of a league commissioner delivered so calmly, so efficiently, and with such devastating precision. Yet that's exactly what unfolded when one of the WNBA's most respected figures, Nefessa Collier, ignited a firestorm that eventually drew in ESPN's Scott Van Pelt. The way Van Pelt dissected Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's leadership, or rather the glaring lack of it, was clinical. No shouting. No theatrics. Just brutal clarity. It wasn't even close. He dismantled her credibility with the ease of a surgeon holding a scalpel, and fans everywhere knew they were witnessing something significant. When one of the most respected voices in sports delivers a takedown like that, it matters. And now the question echoing across the basketball world is simple. Has Kathy Engelbert finally run out of time? The commissioner's response came swiftly, though not wisely. Engelbert issued a statement expressing that she was disheartened and that her perspectives differ. But that weak deflection only made things worse. When a star player says, "We have the worst leadership in the world and you are the leader," that's not a difference in perspective. That's a direct indictment. Yet Engelbert's tone-deaf reaction proved what so many inside the league have suspected for months: she isn't listening. She doesn't hear the players, doesn't feel the pulse of her league, and doesn't understand the moment she's standing in. Let's set the stage, because the timing of all this matters. The WNBA has never been more visible. Thanks to the meteoric rise of Caitlin Clark, the star power of Angel Reese, and the growing hype around young talents like Paige Bueckers, this season should have been a turning point, a true golden era for women's basketball. The spotlight was there. The ratings were record-breaking. The mainstream attention was finally flooding in. Yet somehow, instead of building on that historic momentum, the league is imploding under headlines about poor leadership and internal chaos. The headline everyone's talking about isn't about the finals or historic growth. It's about Scott Van Pelt on ESPN torching Kathy Engelbert in front of the entire nation. And the way Van Pelt did it made it even more powerful. Calm, surgical, and almost polite, his tone never rose. But every sentence landed like a hammer. He quoted Nefessa Collier, who boldly declared she'd earned her platform, and she meant it. Collier said she didn't care what the fine was because "you have nothing to threaten me with." It was a line of pure defiance. Players across the league echoed her sentiment, creating a rare moment of total unity. Not a single opposing voice came forward to defend Engelbert. And that's when Van Pelt dropped the hammer. This wasn't just player frustration, he said. This was a mutiny. It all started when Collier exposed a private conversation allegedly involving the commissioner herself. According to Collier, Engelbert suggested that Caitlin Clark should be grateful for the WNBA because without it, she wouldn't be making any money.
To do, which is to reach out to say thanks, which by the way couldn't be easier to do, is to...
That comment alone set social media on fire. Did Kathy Engelbert miss the entire Iowa era? Did she miss the millions in nil deals, the sold-out college arenas, the national TV ratings that broke decades-old records? Before Caitlin Clark ever touched a WNBA court, she was already a walking empire. Her NIL earnings dwarfed the salaries of most veterans in the league. To suggest she owes her success to the WNBA isn't just inaccurate, it's laughable. Van Pelt made sure to remind everyone of that. In his monologue, he calmly laid out the numbers that the commissioner apparently forgot. ESPN's highest-rated women's basketball games in history, all connected to Caitlin Clark. The All-Star Game with record-breaking viewership, Clark. Ticket sales, merchandise spikes, and social media engagement, every metric was tied to her presence. And yet, the commissioner had the audacity to imply that Clark should be grateful. Van Pelt didn't yell. He didn't need to. He simply presented the facts, and those facts shredded Engelbert's credibility. Then he brought up something even more damning: Elena Del Dun's quiet, heartbreaking revelation. The two-time MVP and league champion retired recently, one of the most accomplished players in WNBA history. And what did she say? That she heard from everyone, fans, teammates, coaches, except Kathy Engelbert. Read that again. One of the most decorated players to ever wear a WNBA jersey walked away without so much as a text from the commissioner. That isn't an oversight. That's a failure of leadership on the most human level. Van Pelt called it exactly that, a failure to perform the most basic duties of the job. Reaching out to say thank you doesn't cost money. It costs effort. It costs awareness. And Engelbert couldn't even do that. When she finally responded to the storm of criticism, her words landed flat. Disheartened. Committed to collaboration. The kind of bland, corporate phrasing that says absolutely nothing. Van Pelt nailed it when he said this wasn't about differing perspectives, it was about accountability. When you're called out by your players, your legends, and your fans, you can't hide behind PR language. You either lead or you get out of the way.